Genesis 3 verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Jehovah God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of any tree of the garden? Genesis 3 verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, Of the fruit of the trees of the garden we may eat. Genesis 3 verse 3. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Genesis 3 verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. Genesis 3 verse 5. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as God, knowing good and evil. Genesis 3 verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat. And she gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Genesis 3 verse 7. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons. Genesis 3 verse 8. And they heard the voice of Jehovah God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Jehovah God amongst the trees of the garden. Genesis 3 verse 9. And Jehovah God called unto the man, and said unto him, Where art thou? Genesis 3 verse 10. And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. Genesis 3 verse 11. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree, whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? Genesis 3 verse 12. And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. Genesis 3 verse 13. And Jehovah God said unto the woman, What is this thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Genesis 3 verse 14. And Jehovah God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, cursed art thou above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Genesis 3 verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. He shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Genesis 3 verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy pain and thy conception. In pain thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Genesis 3 verse 17. And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree, of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In toil shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Genesis 3 verse 18. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. Genesis 3 verse 19. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it wast thou taken. For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. Genesis 3 verse 20. And the man called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Genesis 3 verse 21. And Jehovah God made for Adam and for his wife coats of skins, and clothed them. Genesis 3 verse 22. And Jehovah God said, Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand, and take also of the tree of life, and eat, and live forever. Genesis 3 verse 23. Therefore Jehovah God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden, to till the ground from whence he was taken. Genesis 3 verse 24. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden the cherubim, and the flame of a sword which turned every way, to keep the way of the tree of life. Genesis 4. Genesis 4 verse 1. And the man knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man with the help of Jehovah. Genesis 4 verse 2. And again she bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Genesis 4 verse 3. And in process of time it came to pass, that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Jehovah. Genesis 4 verse 4. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And Jehovah had respect unto Abel, and to his offering. Genesis 4 verse 5. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. Genesis 4 verse 6. And Jehovah said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? Genesis 4 verse 7. If thou doest well, shall it not be lifted up? And if thou doest not well, sin coucheth at the door. and unto thee shall be its desire, but do thou rule over it. Genesis 4 verse 8. And Cain told Abel his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. Genesis 4 verse 9. And Jehovah said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? Genesis 4 verse 10. And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. Genesis 4 verse 11. And now cursed art thou from the ground, which hath opened its mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. Genesis 4 verse 12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee its strength. A fugitive and a wanderer shalt thou be in the earth. Genesis 4 verse 13. And Cain said unto Jehovah, My punishment is greater than I can bear. Genesis 4 verse 14. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the ground, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer in the earth. And it will come to pass, that whosoever findeth me will slay me. Genesis 4 verse 15. And Jehovah said unto him, Therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And Jehovah appointed a sign for Cain, lest any finding him should smite him. Genesis 4 verse 16. And Cain went out from the presence of Jehovah, and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. Genesis 4 verse 17. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he built a city, and called the name of the city, after the name of his son Enoch. Genesis 4 verse 18. And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot Mehujael, and Mehujael begot Methusael, and Methusael begot Lamech. Genesis 4 verse 19. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of the one was Adah, and the name of the other Zillah. Genesis 4 verse 20. And Adah bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents and have cattle. Genesis 4 verse 21. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and pipe. Genesis 4 verse 22. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, the forger of every cutting instrument of brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Genesis 4 verse 23. And Lamech said unto his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice. Ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech. For I have slain a man for wounding me, and a young man for bruising me. Genesis 4 verse 24. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold. Genesis 4 verse 25. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth. For said she, God hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, for Cain slew him. Genesis 4 verse 26. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enosh. Then began men to call upon the name of Jehovah. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to our channel for more.